Welcome back to my Final Fantasy XIV drama series. Today's drama story is about static loot distribution. If you enjoy these kinds of videos, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Was I wrong for arguing with my static regarding the loot distribution? Was I wrong to suggest that we chill and quit being mad and toxic? That's the title of the Reddit thread. So let's read and see what actually happened and see if they were wrong at all. Here is a recent story I had with a light data center static group that we decided to gather together and tackle the recent Savage raid here. First, the group is basically 3 friends who are actually friends from one server, and after that, me and 4 others from different places. So we started the raiding as normal groups would do. It was kind of a struggle to get the weekly re-clears, as for some reason we would wipe multiple times to do, for example, P5S up to P7S. I want to mention our Astrologian and the ranged role guy both are just being passive aggressive in a way that is really not helping, blaming whoever messes up some mechanic and causing us to wipe. In short, being kind of toxic on a way like, stop wasting our time, you know? Fucking position. Open your eyes. What the fuck? Or what the hell are you doing? Etc. It was just not quite the encouraging type of raiding environment. Well, first week went painful, till we got to the point where we progressed P8S Part 1. And not to mention how even far painful that was from the 2 people I mentioned earlier. However, the second week we cleared after sweat and blood enduring their attitude through the process of the fight's mechanics, which in my opinion made me miss the toxicity that happens in Party Finder. Okay, I do kind of get what they're saying, because like, if someone in your static is being toxic, you're going to miss Party Finder because you don't have to hear that person being toxic in your ear. In Party Finder, the toxicity is just in the chat box and you don't have to read it. It's not as bad as it is being in your ear and listening to it. So I can understand that. I already thought to leave after the first week, but I swallowed it up and decided to continue, as I will have a better chance getting my big gears with them than to roll on a random chance to win anything in Party Finder. True. The second thing I noticed is they don't quite have that kind of sheet or document where they look up what everyone's bis is or what they need, and then make an actual schedule on who gets what and when and what week. Basically being random on who gets the loot, no matter if they need it or their role in the group needs it. For example, I would always assume most of the groups I join goes with DPS, gets their weapon first, then tanks, then healers. Dude, actually, them not having a document and them being probably all randoms in the static is very scary. Because yes, everyone is just going to roll no matter what. Just seems like there's no rules, and that's pretty scary. As for the chest coffer, usually it goes tanks, then healers, then DPS. Oh, for the chest piece? I didn't know that. Because it provides defense. In this group, it started with me getting the chest piece since I'm the main tank of the group. And then I got flamed by the healers saying they deserved the chest piece more than I did. Because when I joined the group, I was already the highest eye level. Because I sort of lucked out on some rolls week 1, and I was accused of being a hypocrite and I lack decency for rolling on the chest to get it. I simply let that go, and I didn't feel like arguing or discussing that, as it will only lead to more drama. My opinion about like who gets what, like in whatever order, it doesn't matter unless you're doing worlds first. Like, you don't need to get super picky about what role gets what. If you're just taking your time to clear and you're on maybe like a week or 2 late with clearing, it doesn't really matter who gets the chest piece or who gets the weapon, as long as it's not the same person every week, like, and you're just distributing it fairly. But DPS with weapons, like, I think that's what most people do. I think everyone agrees on that, at least, for DPS with weapons first. However, as I mentioned before, every weekly re-clear was painful to do and hours to go through, when I usually have an easier time doing them with the Party Finder. And I went through that process for 5 weeks with them. I even once suggested that we tone down the tilt and anger issue, as it's not helping anyone being mad for wipes and being toxic about it. It's true. I think that like getting angry about people messing up just doesn't solve anything. Like, I get it that some people can be frustrated about someone wiping all the time, but like I always see it as when someone gets mad in a static, they had like a stressful day at work or something, or things didn't go right, and they're pouring that anger and being impatient to someone in the party, which is still wrong because everyone's going through stuff in their daily lives, but it doesn't mean you have to be angry at someone. Just take note if someone's messing up a lot and just like still be nice and give them a chance, and then later on you guys could discuss like if you need to change this person. That's it. Like it shouldn't be that hard, you know. So yeah, I think people just being constantly toxic, like there's no reason for that at all. I wanted to also add that it can make the voice calls super awkward at times if people are being called out left and right, and can add pressure into the raid. So they mentioned to tone down the tilt and anger issue, and it's not helping anyone being mad for wipes and being toxic about it. And I was called out for being dramatic and all of that, and literally no one even agreed with me that we should chill down and just be cool. Even the few people that I thought are good people were telling me, just let it go. What can you do? You can't change people. You can't change how they are. Best you can do is probably just leave. We don't mind it because we are used to this toxicity. No need to take anything personal, etc. So the group is actually used to it. So maybe some people do actually know each other within the group. I even had the thought to mute the 2 people who are ruining the mood for me and everyone in their tilty comments. But then that will only ruin it, as they might call out something and I will miss it. So through all that mental hell, I still endured and just told myself I will get bis and then just leave because I'm on my last straw. Basically, after 3 weeks, 3 DPSs got their weapons, and our ranged role player, who is basically the lead of the static, got a bard's bis weapon, which he will use to do reclears since he was playing dancer for whatever reason. So who will get the weapon in week 4? According to what we've been going through, the mental image of the schedule, now the DPS got 3 weapon coffers and the bard got a weapon dropped that he will use. What is next? It should be the tanks, right? AKA me and the off tank. The healers jumped in. What's your eye level? What weapon are you using? The 630 tome weapon, right? Well, you already have the 630 weapon. We use 615. It's not fair that you get the next weapon. Then the other healer went with, we deserve the weapon more because we will heal more with it. According to these 2 reasons, the schedule got an edit of, well, next weapon are both for healers. So I let it go and I swallowed it up again. As after the healers, I will get my weapon coffer, hopefully, right? Week 4 and 5 are done, and now both healers got their weapons. After week 5, they spoke again. Who gets the next weapon? The bard guy, the ranged roleplayer person who got the bard weapon bis, was like, well, I didn't get a weapon coffer for my main. I'm not actually a ranged main. I'm a black mage main, and I deserve the next weapon coffer. We already have enough healing and DPS. Why should the tanks get their weapon next? They should be the last 2. Well, I felt like I was being screwed over about this, and I decided to actually talk and demand on what we agreed on. And I'm sick of how they keep changing the loot distribution every few weeks depending on their mood and prioritizing their friends over my turn. Another problem is that the other off tank, who I expected to talk up to or try to even have an opinion on this, was like, I don't care when I get mine. I'm just fine with anything. I can be last. Not to mention, he was one of the people who were mostly messing up mechanics and wiped us most of the time in the prog time. So basically, the ranged person insisted that next week he gets his weapon for his main job, and then the DPS suggested that me and him both roll in the weapons next week. Well, I declined that suggestion because I already endured so much crap, and I wasn't going to try and swallow it up till we've done 8 clears and instantly move on elsewhere. After that, I just ended up saying, I don't think I will raid next week if you guys are going to screw me over with the weapon coffer like that. I don't really like this change of heart and mind regarding the loot schedule, and I don't appreciate being treated as a sub-tank. And the person simply called me the worst disrespectful names such as ignorant, dumb, and other things I can't mention here. And then he said, we all voted to kick you out of the group. Good luck in your party finder. To find out that all the DPS didn't care and just said, yes, kick her. We can easily find another tank, and simply didn't care since they all got their BIS things. And to also find out that the click group, the raid leader, the ranged roll guy, and the astrologian and the dragoon already wanted me out weeks ago when I suggested that we should tone down the toxic and the tilt energy during reclears, including the off tank who I thought was kind of standing with me or attempting to do. Not to mention all the name and pure toxicity I've seen from this one ranged guy. The raid leader in the toxic private messages as he went full toxic in nature against me. Literally was even joking about what I have in my Steam profile and other things like that I have linked into my Discord. Basically trying so hard to just show me that no one likes me and that I shouldn't even raid, and they wanted to kick me weeks ago and so on. The guy even showed me what they say about me in private conversations, and that one of them already said, kick her, we don't need her. I have a friend who can already tank for us. Well, I'm sorry for the long story, but it was really bothering me for a few days, and I felt like I just needed to let it all out because I truly have been mentally pressured and tried my best to endure this as best as I could and to be done with the current tier and move on. Was I even wrong about arguing about the loot distribution? Because seeing the whole group going against me is really weird. Most of them have cleared more ultimates than I did, at least 3 of them, and I feel the only one who actually did 2 of them. So I'm not sure if I joined some sort of elitism group who just didn't feel like having me around or what. That's the end of the story. A little hard to read at times, but maybe like English isn't their first language, or they were just really angry that sometimes you just type out really fast and don't realize that you're probably like misspelling words or breaking your sentences and stuff. But you hear about those stories a lot with raiding, and whenever the group feels like it's messy like that, it is best to like talk to the leader. They should have raised their concerns with the leader. They need to stick to a plan and follow through. The fact that they kept changing things up, it just sounded like they really wanted to screw her over. Like, that sounds like they're friends and they wanted to give things to their friends first, and who cares about the randoms and the static? They can get it last. It felt like that. They knew she was probably quite nice to let it slide like the first few weeks. Then it was just getting too much and like she had enough and she just wanted to like get her weapon. OP didn't know anyone. They had to meet everyone through that static. They tried to buddy up with the other tank who might have been a new person that they recruited too. But of course the other tank was probably like, I don't really want to buddy up with you because you're random. Maybe I want to buddy up with the group of friends. Or just stay neutral and not get involved. Sub tank or not, they're still helping you prog. Exactly. And deserve the same rules and respect as everyone else in the group. I agree with that. It just sounded like the whole group was already messy from the beginning. The fact that they don't have a document like that. If you don't have a document, it's because you're all friends in the group. If you have a document or a spreadsheet that shows who gets what, do that when you have randoms in your static, because that way it's a structured schedule of who gets what, and less problems will happen in your static. Sounds like a bit of copium. Because when you're in a static chat, you kind of learn the ways of how that static does the savage tier. Like, everyone has their set positions. It's a little bit different to Party Finder, but if you want to do Party Finder, if you really have to, you just learn the couple of extra things that your static doesn't do. The reason why they didn't want to do Party Finder is because they know that rolling for loot is going to be completely random versus a static where they've been helping the person has been helping them get their loot, so therefore she should get her loot eventually, right? Because she helped them get them. Yeah, but if she just went straight into Party Finder, it's not guaranteed she's gonna get her loot. So that's the shitty part of it, of Party Finder. It's just all random. Everyone rolls. It's free for all. So they had no spreadsheet, but they said she was gonna get it the week after. And then when that week came up, the bard basically said, oh, I don't main bard. I actually main black mage. Therefore, I should get the weapon. And since he was friends with other people in the static, they were like, is everyone cool with that? That the bard gets the black mage weapon? The weapon coffer this week? even though the two tanks haven't gotten their bis weapons yet, and the bard already has his bis weapon, but he wants the bis for the black mage. And the other tank was like, yeah, it's cool, I'll just wait, I'm okay to be last. And then the girl, which was the other tank, was like, what? No, like, fight for what's right. Like, tanks should just get their bis. It's fair for everyone in the party to get their bis before people get bis for their other jobs, whatever job it may be. I get that this bard player plays black mage as his main job, but technically you're playing as a bard this savage tier, so it's only fair everyone gets the bis weapon for what job they're currently playing, and then you can get your second set later. Just be careful when you join statics who are a group of friends. They could screw you over. They might. So just be careful about that. There's definitely lots of group of friends that don't and do things properly and organized, but sometimes, yeah, there are stories of group friends like screwing over the randoms in the party. To answer their question, was I wrong for arguing with my static? It's never worth to argue, but like, they should have talked to the leader privately. I guess they suggested something in front of all of them, and they technically argued with her, and then she argued back, and it just went all downhill from there. And they didn't like her. It's weird that later in her story, she said that they actually all wanted to kick her out, but didn't, which is kind of rude, because it's like, if they didn't like her a long time ago, why didn't they just kick her out? It just seems like they were using her. They were just like keeping her around, and they probably were like, yeah, let's just like use her and then like kick her once we're done. Were they ever planning to give her the weapon? I wonder till this day, did she even get her weapon, or did she just leave? Because it sounded like they got into a really big argument, and then I don't know what happened. I don't think she got it. She never got shit. That's okay. That's fucked up, man. I'd be so mad that she put up with those, like, all those weeks of helping them and didn't get her bis. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about this Final Fantasy XIV drama story. If you have any of your own drama stories that you'd like me to share and read out anonymously, feel free to reach out to my Discord, discord.gg/Pathra. And if you would like to support the content by tipping, feel free to join and become a YouTube member with some perks.